Welcome to the Amazing Truth Podcast, a podcast where we focus on real issues and have real talk, and as always, provide a biblical perspective. We hope that you will be blessed as you listen.
Welcome back to Amazing Truth Special Edition. This is a special edition and it was due to public demand. And in a nice way, not because it's entertaining or exciting, but simply because there was a lot of gems and knowledge that was being dropped, and people felt like there was a need for practical steps and ways to resolve. So just to introduce this Kenan, we've had Isaiah, right now let me just introduce him, aka Izo, right?
Izo.
Who has walked us through his journey in terms of chemical dependency, struggle, hit rock bottom, lost his career that he had worked hard for, built, became homeless. All he had was just $5 and, a bag.
Yeah, trash bag,
right? Yeah. But God has been gracious. Here he is again. He's back at the peak of his life.
Yeah.
And last time when we stopped, when he shared, he was talking about lessons that he had learned from rehab, right? And how to apply them and so forth and so forth. So welcome, Izo, for this last segment, and thank you for creating time to be with us here.
Thank you.
We'll just go straight to this because this is not our regular episode. By the way, this weekend, hey, do they want to miss Kenan?
No, you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss. We have a very inspiring guest as well, and we're continuing this series.
So Isaac, you talked about I call you Isaac, Izo, Isaiah, right? We talked about, you were talking about the practical tips, how you overcame and things you learned from rehab, and had a message for people and so forth. My question that I have for you that came, one of the main questions that came is, what are you doing now? You have all these tips, you have all these resources, you have been, almost 5 years sober. What are you doing now? What are you doing now?
The one thing that I do is I practice this every day.
Okay.
The same way sobriety is a lifestyle for me now.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so an expectation.
Mm-hmm.
The same way I wake up and I dress up.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that I tell myself before I leave the house is that I'm going to remain sober today.
Yeah, man.
It's an expectation.
Yeah, awesome.
Once you set that as an expectation, then it also cuts out the temptation.
Awesome.
Your mind does not dilly-dally with it because your mind already knows.
Okay.
You don't ride in the bottom of your car.
So you've been sober. Sober for almost 5 years.
Yes.
That's not a small thing.
That's
huge. 5 years.
I know they usually keep coins.
Yes.
Every year.
So I stopped collecting it after 2 years. It was a personal choice.
Yeah.
And don't do what I did. Just do whatever works for you. It's because I set it as an expectation.
Yeah.
After 2 years, I said, you know what? Celebrating it is good. I remember it once a time, my family members would call me or they would say, we would do something small. My best friend might do a dinner or something, just about it. But, where I am now is, first of all, set it as an expectation. And it's something that I encourage for someone who's new into sobriety to do it that way.
Okay.
Don't wait.
I know you mentioned that you talk to, people.
Yes.
Recently, you were talking to a group of young people. What are some of those things practically look like? What are some of the conversations? And I think that's where people will like to really know that you're not only sober, but you're actually doing something.
Yeah. So I am free actually to share my story, and even anybody who ever wants to ever get in touch with me, excuse me, one way or another, they can always get in touch with me.
Okay.
You can DM me through my Instagram. I don't check my Facebook much, but if anybody ever gets in touch with you, you can always connect.
What are your handles there?
My handles as in
Instagram. What's your name? What do you go by?
Isaiah.Gesembe. If you search Isaiah Gesembe, you will find me.
Okay.
So I talk to people. I speak with my, the younger people in my family. Obviously, they have no choice.
Yeah.
And I have also over the years I've shared my story with other people who've reached out to me
Okay.
and asked me what I'm doing. I tell them what I'm doing.
Yes, sir.
Self-care is number one.
So were you able to reinstate your nursing license?
Yes, I did. By God's grace, we
Yeah.
were praying like 3 continents, and that day on May 30th, it was my reinstatement hearing.
Yeah.
They reinstated it that day. I'm back practicing.
Nice.
It's 5 years off. Feels like 5 years off. Trust me.
Yeah, going back.
That's good. That's good. I think the other thing that will be a miss if we don't mention this, Kenan, is that we're going to put something together.
Yeah.
Where we can engage again live with you.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of feedback, a lot of questions,
Yeah.
And honestly, Kenan and I cannot answer those
No,
questions.
we can't even.
We're looking
we
at them
cannot
like,
tell.
where do we go from this? So I think we're
Yeah.
the best person. What appeal do you speak to a parent? A parent and a young person, and make an appeal to them.
Yeah. If I would assume that I'm talking directly to a parent right now, I would tell them that number one thing as a parent, you have to acknowledge that we are not, as an immigrant, whether an immigrant or not, you have to see the world, or at least kind of try and see the world from the perspective of this young person. A lot of parents, there's a disconnect. Just because it makes sense to you. There are things that make sense to me now that never made sense to me 10 years.
And you're a parent by this, so you're
And
not
I'm a parent.
speaking out of, just saying.
Yes. And sometimes it's very difficult to reason with your child because they are fighting for something that is not good for them. But in this case, I would urge you to first of all pray. Pray for God to give you the words, the patience to see the world from your child, whether they are struggling with it or whether they are not. Because if your child is not struggling with substance abuse, they are in the crossroads of doing that. And it's not even substance abuse, it's also depression. Depression is real. It happens for one reason or another. Actually, even clinically, there's no direct cause of it. They just have the symptoms of it. There's no one single cause that, hey, this is the cause of this. Listen to your child and ask them, have conversations about how are you doing. Don't let it always be about something. Let it be about them too. How are you doing? Where are you at? How are you feeling in relation to everything else around you?
What about a parent who's frustrated because they don't know what to do?
Please don't try to fix it. There are people who can help you and also more so educate you, because it's the person who doesn't know how to fix a car when they try to if I had to fix your car, trust me, it's gonna be total. I'm not a mechanic. I'm a nurse.
Right.
I don't fix cars. I don't even fix my own car. So in that case, frustration always breeds more destruction in itself.
What about a parent who's they themselves struggling or they're using and they're telling their children not to?
And they can see it at home.
And they can see it at home.
It's that is actually the most dangerous one, because if there's a way for you to dilute your message, is to actually not practice what you preach. Children are not stupid. They know. Even if they don't see you drinking it, they see it in the trash can. If they don't see it in the trash can, they can hear the bottles make noise as you walk to the trash can. That is a way of actually making them even raise their curiosity level. And there's no one who is above addiction. Addiction is a disease. Actually, when I accepted it as a disease is when I was able to forgive myself.
Talk to a person who, as a young person or someone going through substance abuse that doesn't have a support system at home. Talk to that person.
I would first of all tell you, number one, you are not alone. Number two, you are not alone. Number three, you will never be alone in this whole journey. Because you are able to experience everything, whether it's negative and positive, some little positive, but mostly negative emotions through this whole experience, because there is good and there is evil that exists. You're not alone. There are people that you can reach out to in the community now. There are people in the church that you can talk to now. We are going to have an open forum. You know, for me, if you reach out to me, my phone number, or anybody who has my phone number, they always give it to someone else who they think it can help. I get phone calls from people I haven't talked to or seen in 20 years or even heard from. There are people. Yeah, there are people. Trust me, there's hope.
There's always someone who
Yes.
wants to listen and can listen.
Yeah, and when you struggle with that the most is when actually you are about to catch a break.
Yeah.
And the devil doesn't want to let you go.
You know, Kenan.
Yeah.
This is the only time I agree with is you will never walk alone.
Yeah. Never.
This is the only time.
That's the only time.
This is the
The
only
one
time.
and only time.
Those guys who watch soccer, you will know what that means. But anyways, that is very insightful.
Yeah. So once again, we want to.
As we wrap it up.
Yeah.
I saw you're young.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk to a young person.
Yeah.
Talk to a young person who's in high school,
Yeah.
who has not been introduced to it,
Yeah.
who's seen their friends do it, but they're hesitant right now.
Yeah.
Talk to a young person who's in there and they're feeling like nobody understands them.
Yeah.
Because you're young
Mhm.
at heart, you have been there at that stage, at that phase.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
Yeah. You know, the biggest thing and the biggest myth that is fed to a lot of teenagers is that you have to fit in and you have to be part of a clique. If you're not doing what everybody else is doing or what your clique is doing, then you're weird. But that is not true. Identity in itself is not even up to you, because if whether you believe in God, or whether you are not religious, or you're in the crossroads of that, identity is something that you grow into. It's a process that you go. You cannot fitting in. We all cannot fit in one. That is like when people tell you that do this to fit in. We that it's like trying to put out all of you guys in one pant.
Yeah.
You can't. And there's nothing wrong with you being unique. That is another identity that people don't talk about. Because as you grow, you'll find that being unique works out the best, because what only works out once you're out of high school is things that work for you. Your career is things that will work for you. Your place of work is even the type of car you drive is what works for you and your pocket. So what does fitting in now do? It only just, it only takes you down the wrong path.
We want to wind this up because this is a special edition, but two more groups that I want you to speak to. I want you to, you're a member and a part of a faith group.
Yes.
Speak to that group, because sometimes the young people say, I don't fit in this group, I don't fit in this church, I don't fit here, there.
Yeah.
What is being done wrong there? What can you tell the leaders there? What can you tell the young people about their values and places of faith and worship?
I think us as a church, I know that we are trying here and there to engage that part, or that, what do you want to call it, the group of people who are, but we haven't fully done that. What I've seen other churches do is even have sobriety programs. And sobriety programs is not always for, this is the ex drinker is there to come. No, sobriety programs, sometimes they're educative for the people who have never drunk. They come there and then they learn how to deal with it if they have family or friends or church members. It's an educative event. And Kenan can tell us that as him as his line of work, that sometimes actually what lacks as the catalyst in this whole process is that people are not educated enough. to deal with it.
You know, you said something interesting, that not even someone who's struggling with that, but even someone who has a family member who's struggling with that,
Yes.
and they don't know how to deal with them. And I'm
Yes.
sure there are many people listening to this, and they themselves are not struggling with that, but they have a
Yes.
family member, and they don't know how to handle that.
Right.
So
Yes.
those programs are created for them.
Yes.
So the places and houses of worship, especially your faith, Seventh
Yes.
Adventist Church,
Yes.
and especially the immigrant church in Minnesota,
Yes.
that is something that is lacking.
Yes.
But sometimes it can be easy to point fingers out when you see those people who are struggling,
Yes.
because they don't have a place to go and a place to fit. You belong in a community.
Yeah.
Talk to that community, the African community, the
Yes.
immigrant community.
Mhm.
Tell them, because I know that this is a problem that has made young people take their lives, whether
Yes.
we like it or not.
Yeah.
Let
This
us
is-
talk to them.
Yeah.
What can we do? What is the community doing? Talk to all these leadership groups, Manyating, and the rest that I hear. You know, talk to them.
I as one thing, Ezra and Kenan, that I've always said, and I say this when everybody was screaming corona, is that I say that the biggest epidemic that we have in our community right now is substance abuse. If you look at the number of young people who died during this corona period from substance abuse versus from corona, we had more people die from substance abuse.
Mercy.
Wow.
And if you look at what from the history, from ever since immigrants started coming to this country, we've lost more people to substance abuse than drowning,
Shooting.
car accidents, shooting, and all this. We have lost more people to that, or circumstances related to that.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's an epidemic that wherever group that you are a part of, you have to include this as part of your activities.
Yeah, and I know that the society is trying to embrace now some of these other things that, you know, if it's legalizing marijuana or there's harm reduction stuff where you're being told just take a shot at it.
Yeah.
But I think we have to, as a community, we have to embrace that and know how to deal with those things. That's why we had to have this mini
special.
so we can at least bring that out there. And we are working on something which will bring to you, or bring a forum, focus on young people or anybody, just to talk about this, going through this. So once again, we want to thank you for enlightening us, for coming and sitting and talking and opening up your life to us. And to everybody who will listen to you. So your Instagram is open. We'll put your handles on when we post this.
Yeah.
Someone can reach out to you like you reached out to us.
Yes.
No problem.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And anyone who's listening, you can send us a message. If you're not able to get Isaiah, we can relate to him through
And you
our
can
handles.
we
share
give
his
my number
handles.
too.
You go to our website, you'll see that. Your email, he'll give us, you can say your email, and we can also, if anyone sends to our email, we'll also forward it to you. But you can go ahead and say it.
Yeah, my email is gesembei@gmail.com. My last name, GESEMBEI@gmail.com. And any of these two guys can give you my phone number. You just shoot me a text message like, hey, I would like to talk to you, and I'll create time.
Awesome.
Thank you. That was just a mini-sode, but we want to thank you for listening, and thank you again, Izo, for coming through.
Ido.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Amazing Truth Podcast. We hope you were blessed as you listened. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. God bless you, and see you on the next one.